about that Carvana example from like 400 to 3 to 400, right? Like that whole period was like 5 years, but there was like no attention at the time. Like nobody was paying attention to it. Now with Open Door, I think we're going to see that same kind of U shape recovery. But because there's so much more attention, like, it wouldn't surprise me if like that whole U gets compressed and like basically the rise up goes a lot faster. I mean, we'll have to see though, but things are moving quicker. I agree with you. You basically, you know, Opendoor is very similar to Carvana or similar to stock like Uber. Like Uber came along and it said, "Hey, the world taking taxis is inefficient. There's a better way of doing this. We can use our mobile phones to kind of make it a seamless process." Carvana said, "Hey, the world of buying and selling used cars in America is crappy. We don't like going to the car dealerships to deal with them and paying them their big fee. Let's do it direct." Airbnb said, "Hey, you know, like let's do the kind of a direct way of like handling like going and staying at somebody's place in Sicily or wherever, right?" And so like all those guys are now like this e-commerce interface layer for those markets, transportation, B&Bs, and then real estate for Open Door is like what they're all about. They're trying to be that interface layer for real estate. Now, real estate, buying and selling your house is a huge market. Like venture capitalists always talk about total addressable market. Well, in the US, like the residential real estate market is $20 trillion, and 14 trillion of that 20 are tied to mortgages. And about 5% of Americans move every year. So there are like these huge, it's a huge volume of transactions. And everybody would agree it's a very inefficient today dealing with the agents and paying a 6% commission rate to these agents. And often people are like scratching their heads wondering what the agents did to justify that extra 6%, by the way. So what if you could deal with like an interface layer that sort of matched buyers and sellers using AI in a much more efficient way, kind of like dialing up an Uber. If you dialed up your Open Door, you know, like that's the dream of like that. Now it hasn't been like that. Company's been around for like 10 years,